In Proverbs 25:2, it says, it is the glory of God to conceal a thing, and it's the duty or honor of kings to search out a matter. And in fact, Rabbi Cordovero in the 16th century records that the secrets of the Torah, that's the Hebrew term for the 5 books of Moses, are revealed in the skipping of letters. There are lots of hidden messages in the scriptures, but we're going to just focus on one called the equidistant letter sequence. What on earth is an equidistant letter sequence? Well, let me give you a contrived example here to get the idea across. Rips is one of the scientists in this area, by the way. But anyway, Rips explained that each code is a case of adding every 4th letter to form a word. Now, in this particular contrived example, if you take every 4th letter, an R, an E, an A, a D, a T, H, E, C, O, D, E, it spells a message itself. It says, read the code. Now, in this case, it's just a simple contrivance, but to get across the idea that you can have a message embedded in another message that is hidden. It has to be found by knowing what spacing to use and so forth. Now, with a computer, that's easily, you can try all spacing to see if there's a message there, to see if something's going, and that's exactly what they've done. I want to share with you a discovery, or I should say a rediscovery, by Rabbi Weismandel, who was between World War I and World War II. He made some discoveries in his study of the Hebrew text, which is a rediscovery of things that the ancient rabbis knew long before. He noticed some footnotes and some ancient documents he looked at, chased them down, and discovered something interesting. This is the book of Genesis, the opening passages of the Bible. Now realize that the Hebrew goes from right to left. We would look at it as going backwards. You should understand that all languages flow towards Jerusalem. Countries that are west of Jerusalem go from left to right. Greek, English, German, Russian, whatever. Countries that are east of Jerusalem go from right to left. Hebrew, Arabic, Sanskrit, and others. But the main point is, I don't know what you do with that piece of information. I just throw it out because I think it's colorful. But the word for Torah, the law, is in Hebrew, it's 4 letters. One letter, it's equivalent to our T-O-R-H. If you go to the first Tau, which is like their T, and then count 49 letters, you come to a Vav, which operates sort of like an O. And then you count 49 letters, and you get a Resh. And then you count 49 letters again, and you get a Hey. And that's a Tau, Vav, Resh, and Hey, which is equivalent to our spelling it T-O-R-H. The English transliteration of that would be Torah. And again, the Hebrew goes from right to left, the English goes from left to right. Now you say, gee, that's curious, 49-letter intervals, it's curious. You don't make much of that. It's just, many people argue, well, that's just an accident of statistics. It could have happened any number of ways. Okay. You go to Exodus, and you discover the same thing happens. You go to the first Tau, and then you count 49 letters, you get a Vav. Count 49 letters, you get a Resh. Then you get 49 letters, and you get a Hey. And again, it spells Torah. And you say, well, that's really a little more than coincidence, because it obviously seems to be designed. It happens again in Exodus. The chances of those happening by chance start to become astronomically ridiculous. You go to Leviticus, and you're sort of relieved when it doesn't happen at all. But you go to Numbers, something even stranger happens. You find a Hey, a Resh, a Vav, and a T. You find Torah spelled backwards. I don't know how they discovered this. It sounds like they had time on their hands. But the point is, again, we have 49-letter intervals spelling out Torah, but backwards this time. And you go to the next book, Deuteronomy, you have essentially the same thing again occur with 49-letter intervals. Well, so you stand back from all of this and say, that's kind of strange. Forward, and then Leviticus said, let's take a look at this, Leviticus a little more closely. And we notice not 49, which is 7 squared, but 7 letters. We find intervals of 7. We have a Yot, a Hey, a Vav, and a Hey. And the Yot, Hey, Vav, Hey is the unpronounceable name of God in the Jewish community. And now you stand back from this whole design. You've got Genesis and Exodus and going forward, and Numbers and Deuteronomy going backwards, and you discover that the Torah always points to Yahweh, or Yehovah, or Yadveh, Yad-Hey, Vav-Hey is the way some rabbis would deal with that. Interesting. Now, the question is this all happened by accident? Hardly. Is this evidence of design? Yes. What does it prove? I'm not sure. But there's so many of these things that are so profound that increasingly they come to be regarded as authentication. You try to draft some text with these kinds of properties, you'll discover it's not near impossible. It's much more difficult than it looks to contrive these things. Let me shift to another, since we're talking about information sciences in effect here. I want to acquaint you with another paradigm